In this video we're going to be making a granny square. Granny squares are really handy things to know how to make. They should be okay to learn because they basically involve the double crochet, which you'll now be pros at from doing the mug cozy. But to start off, what you're going to do is do your slip knot onto the hook, and then you're going to chain 4. Once you have your 4 on, you're then going to put the hook through your first loop you've created at this end. You might want to guide it on with your finger, and you're going to do a slip stitch to then basically join the 2 ends together. So you're going to hook over, go through the first and the second, and now what just looks like one big knot on the screen. Let's see if I can show you. It's actually created a circle, and then you've got like a hole here in the centre. Probably not chose the best colour wool to show you this because the darker walls are harder to see, but you can definitely see that hole there in the middle. So that hole is what we're going to work into. So before we work into it, we are going to chain 3, and that will be our first stitch, like we've done previously when we do double crochets. So that's our first stitch. We're now going to see if you can see that hole there in the middle. We're going to do 2 double crochets into that hole. So yarn over, push into the hole, yarn over and put it through the hole. Hang on, let's show you that again because the wool did not like that. So we've yarned over and pulled through. So we've now got 3 lines on the hook. Okay, and then for the double crochet we hook over, put it through 2, hook over, put it through 2. So that's our first double crochet. So we're going to hook over again, go through that hole, pull it through, hook over, and what we have done is created our first corner. We've got 3 double crochet stitches coming out of that circle. What we've created, it'll be easy to show you in this, is this first section in the first one. So to move over to the second section here, there's obviously a jump, and to achieve that we just chain 1, and then we start our 3 double crochets into that hole. So this is quite a thick, and it's quite a nice wool actually for a bag because there's not lots of stretch in it. So when you're choosing your wool for your bag, that's just something you need to consider, is how big it's going to be, what kind of finish you want on it. So if you don't mind it being sort of a fluffier wool, but also, you know, if you're making a large one that's going to have heavy things in it, you don't want a stretchy wool because it's just going to stretch out and look rubbish quite quickly. You can't really see with the black, but what we've now done is these first 2 sections. So now I want to move into the next one. So to do that I need to chain 1 and then 3 double crochets. You want to try and avoid getting the hook caught, the tail caught up in with the hook. 1. So this, like I say, should come quite easy to you after the previous project we've done. It's the hardest bit is the fiddly bit at the beginning of creating the circle and working out where to do the stitches into. So once you've done this first round, they're quite simple to create. So I've now done our 3 sections, chain 1 again, and I'm on my last 3. So darker walls are harder to use. I mean, they're only harder because it's harder to work out where things are when you're looking at them. So I can see from here on the camera. Let's try and make it focus a little bit better. It's you know, if you're just starting out, it's quite hard to work out what's what. So I mean, that only applies to very dark colours like a black or a navy. But what you're going to do is you're going to go into the top of that first chain you created. So there's the gap. You've got your first, your second, and then here is the chain. So you can go through, if it's going to let me through, because it's quite tight. Right. Then you're going to yarn over and do a slip stitch. Just put it all the way through to create your first round. Now I'm going to try to show you on this the holes. But basically you've created 3 stitches, a hole, 3 stitches, a hole, 1, 2, 3 stitches, a hole, 1, 2, 3 stitches, and that hole. So it's kind of like what we did on the mug cozy. So this is a square, and what we would do on the mug cozy on the next round is go into the gaps, and that's what we're going to do on this. We're going to go into the 4 corners. I'm going to show you how to change colour. So what I've done for my slip, I've already done a slip stitch. So to finish off this colour, you are just going to cut the wool. So the wool has been cut, and then you're going to just do another stitch, pull it all the way through, tug it, and there's your knot. So then to change colour, just grab the wool, let's go with a lighter colour, make it a little easier to see. So we're going to go through that first hole right near where you just cut off. So if you'd carried on, this would be the hole you would have started going into. You're gonna put your yarn over, pull it through that hole, put both the yarn pieces over, loop it on. Then you drop your tail and you start using just your new one, and you do like you did before. So that's your first chain. You're going to chain 1, 2, so you've now got a chain of 3, and then you're going to do 3 double crochets into that, 2 more double crochets into that hole, so that you've got 3 stitches in there. What you can do is you can hold like the cream and the black. Can you see I've got them both there? You can hold them both along so that they're being captured within the stitches, and that just helps weave them a bit. Reduces how much work you've got to do later on because they're already slightly weaved in. Okay, so I've done my 3. So this is a corner. So to do the corner, then it's chain 1. Look at this fluff on my finger. Right, and then you can jiggle this to the side so it's kind of going along this side, and then the next 3 are going to go along the top. You don't have to, it just fits better and easier if you do that. So in back in the same hole, another 3, 1, 2. I'm not taking you step by step through these double crochets because hopefully you know what you're doing with these by now, and if you don't, go back to the double crochet video. This one is more about showing you how to create the granny square from them. So there we go, we've now created a corner. So you've got your 3 stitches, a gap here, and your 3 stitches up and along. So, and you'll see that I've weaved these part way through, all the way around that, so it's tightened that off a little. So then we are going to jump to the next hole, which is here, and we're going to do the same again. So you don't want to tie them in now because it's too big a bridge. So hook is now 3 double crochets, there we go. I think the nice contrast of the two colours is kind of helping you sort of see it as well. You're going to chain 1 and then another 3. So that chain 1 is creating your corner in your turn. It's giving the wall enough flex or allowance to be able to turn around that bend. Otherwise it would be more curved and it would just be pulling, and it would probably start to create almost like a bowl shape because it's too much pull on it. Right, so there we go. We have got our 3, our chain and our 3. So we've now got all the way along. So I'm going to continue that around the other side. So it would be jump into this hole, 3 double crochets, a chain, 3 double crochets, jump to this hole, 3 double crochets, a chain, 3 double crochets. So you're not doing anything in here, no additional stitches when you jump between the two, no chains, no nothing. It's just pulling it onto the next section. So I'll come back when I've done that. So here we are, I've completed the second round. And then to finish that off, it's the same as the last one. It's a bit easier to show you this time. So obviously there's the gap, and then you've got 1, 2, and then you've got your chain here that you created. So you're going into the top of that chain, not into this double crochet one. You want it to be in the top of this. I'm going to go in here, and then pull through to create your slip stitch, and that finishes off your square. And they all kind of just need a little jig when they're done, because it looks like, you can say this one looks bigger, it all looks a bit wonky, but they all kind of need a little jiggle around to fit. As you can see from this one, I've done 2 just 2 little ones at the moment. This has got 9 on it. So if I show you the bags that we're going to create, and we can just look at how many rounds you're going to need to do. So we have this bag first. This is a crossbody bag. This is going to be the same amount of rows regardless because of the style of the bag. Let's just see if I can move that back a bit. So yeah, so as you can see, this has got 1, 2, 3, and then whatever the main colour of the bag is as a 4th one. So that cream one is the 4th. So having done these 2 rows, I'm already halfway there. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 granny squares on this. And then you've got all of the frame and the handle to do. Your other option would be this style. Now this is a mini one, and each of these have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the main one, so that's 5. So that's 1 more than the other bag, but there are only 3 granny squares. And what you'll notice when you do your granny squares are this round will take no time at all. This round will take 4 times the amount of time. So each time you do it, what you're doing is, I'm going to show you the next round, but just to explain is you're going to be doing your corners. Every corner is the same as what we've already done. But then you're also going to be doing the gaps here, here, here and here. So you're going to do just 3 double crochets into each of these. So on this there are 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. Each round you do, there's an extra gap on each side. So when you get to this last one, the 9th one, you've got your corners and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on each side. So this one, where you didn't do any sides, you just went into the 4 corners, to then 7, 14, 21, 28 extra stitches. So I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. I'm going to explain it very well, but basically each time you do a next row, you're adding 1 more hole to each side, and then each hole is 3 double crochets into it. So that's 12 extra double crochets per round. So if you decided you wanted to make this but as a larger tote bag, so if I got 2 of these 9 ones just to kind of show you, you'll be creating a bag kind of like this sort of size. There we go. So it's kind of like a much bigger version, but it will take you much more time. And that's your choice. You can do either design, you can do any size. It just means you'll be doing more of it at home. So they're just things to think about when you're choosing what you want to do. So you'd then, like I say, you'd make a much longer handle if you did this one. I mean, you could do a short one, just have it as almost like a little handbag, or you could do a long one so it goes over your shoulder. Just to put them next to each other so you can get an idea of the size difference. You might want to do somewhere in between. And like I say, this one is a set one because it's like a set shape and design. Okay, enough of that. Let's show you how to do the next round. So there are 2 ways of going on to the next round if you're staying the same colour. So you might decide you want to do the whole thing in one colour. You can either do what you do with the colour, and that would be then to tie this off and then you start again in the next corner. The other way, I'm going to show you, but I have to tie this off and show you at the end of the next row. So this is the same. So if you were changing colour or you're keeping the colour the same, you can do this. Put it through, pull the knot at the back. Now, if you wanted to just keep going and not have to keep changing the wool, it's good practice for you where you're learning to just tie off the ends. But if you just want to go in one go, so go through this corner one here. It's the same as before. You've looped it over, you're pulling it through, turn it around, and that's creating your first chain. So then you're going to chain 2 more to create your first stitch. So 1, 2. And then you're going to do 2 double crochets into that hole. And what we've then done previously is chained 1 and created the corner. What you're going to do is you're going to leave that, and that will become the second corner. And you're going to move on to the next bit. So like I said to you a moment ago, we go into all of these gaps. So into that next gap, we do 3 double crochets. One, 2, and 3. Then you're going to move into the next corner where you're going to do your 3 double crochets. You're then going to chain 1, there's the 3, chain 1, and then you do another 3. When you get to this third row, I feel like this is the one where you start to see the granny square growing, and it's sort of a bit more satisfying. You suddenly think, oh, I feel like the minimum round you need for a granny square is 3. Not for the bag, but just in general, like a small, if you were doing like a blanket of small granny squares or something, you need at least 3. But there you can see we've created the corner. So then it will be into this gap, 3 double crochets, then this corner for 3, chain 1, and then another 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets here, 3, a chain, and 3 in here, and then I'm going to meet you when I've got to this stage and done 3 into here, just to show you how to finish it off. So I'm all the way around now, and what I'm going to now do is create the rest of this corner. So I'm going to jump from here, like we've done on all the rest, and go in and do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to, once I've done that, I'm going to chain 1 for that corner, and then I'm going to go into the top of this third one. I want to see if I can show you the chain. It's just, I'm showing you on the black again, this is not great, but you can see the chain going along the top, so that is for the first rung. There's the chain for that one, so you're finding the last chain on there, that's for what you created here. I'm trying to show you, so there's the first, there's the second, and here's the third here. Let me push it through and see if that shows you a bit better. Pushing it through both the lines as well, not just one. There we go. Put it apart so you can see it's on both. And that is the last one on, you can see that it's coming out the end of this section here. So you know you're going into the correct one. So you're going to go and do a slip stitch like you've done the rest of the time with the other rows. Except it slipped right off the hook. So I've done a slip stitch and I'm now in the corner. So on the other times we've done it, we've ended over here. And it's quite hard to start from there. So because of doing half, and then when you get round doing the other half, you've ended in the corner, and that's where the gap is that you want to start in. So to do the next row, it's quite simple. You're just going to chain 3, and then go in 2 double crochets into that corner, so ready to start that row again. So then if you're planning on again keeping the wall the same colour, you would only do 1 corner in here, like that. That's that first corner, and then jump across to here. And you'll see what I mean now in terms of holes. You'll see that on this row there are 1, 2 holes, whereas on the previous one it was just 1. So now you're going to do 3 double crochets in here, 3 double crochets in here, you do your corner, which is your 3 double, a chain and 3 double, and then you're going to be moving on to another 2 here, your corner, 2, and then once this row is complete, it will have 3 holes along each side, and that's how it grows, and that's why it takes longer each row. But that is enough to get you going. Like I say, if you're doing this crossbody bag, the row I'm currently on would be your last one. So it might be that you might have done, so say on this I've done like different colours, you might have done just one colour, you might be doing the whole thing in one colour, whatever it might be, but at this stage you would be on this row, if you are having it something different, changing to whatever the outside colour is. It just looks better if all of this and all of the join stitches where you're going to join all of your squares together are the same colour. Just it's much more of a seamless finish. So this row would be whatever colour you're planning on doing this in. If you're going one more, if you're doing this sort of size, you would do that on the row afterwards, on your 1, 2, 3, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, on your 5th row. And then if you're doing something like this, you don't have to worry about it for quite a while. Whatever size you're doing them, it's just whatever the last one is where you're going to finish your square, do it the same colour. But I hope all that makes sense. But in the sessions we'll be sticking them together based on what it is you're doing and showing you how to do the handles and everything else. But this video and showing you how to make the granny squares, it's complete. So fingers crossed you've managed to grasp it all.